This is some weird humiliation ritual type shit that goes on for the men, as well as some really interesting self worship shit for the women that do these types of posts. But it's all in the name of the Lord. And for any guys who experience adultery in your relationships and in your marriages, I just need to leave this here for you. Because I did a survey the other day of about 2,200 men, asking them, after you forgave a girl that cheated, did she ever end up doing it again? Just take a look at that. If you're ever wondering, should I forgive her? Will this come back to haunt me? Is this a good decision? Should I do this for the Lord? Because that's what a good man would do. Just look at that and remember this. There is nothing godly or Christian about staying with a person that betrays you or hurts you or abuses you. But it seems like everything in society is backwards and upside down at this point. So y'all believe whatever you want to believe and enjoy the results that come with that.
I'd rather start over 1,000 times than give a second chance to a woman who betrayed me, because she'll do it again. Do you know why she does it? Because she left looking for something you didn't have, and she came back because she didn't like what she found. She didn't come back because she loves you. She came back because things went wrong with the other man. She wants to return to her comfort zone so she can plan her next adventure. As we'll see in the next video, where a woman says she cheated on her husband with his brother and doesn't regret anything. Don't forget to subscribe and comment what you think. And without further ado, let's get started.
I just cheated on my husband with his brother and I have no regrets. Story time. So me and my husband, who we'll call Steve, were high school sweethearts and we got married when we were 20 years old. I was working a really successful job and we were living the life we had always dreamed of in high school. My husband would treat us like royalty. He'd shower the kids with flowers, gifts. However, over time, he started to get more and more distant with us. I'd catch him on his phone, like secretly texting. And this is when I discovered that Steven was having an affair. So we had a big old conversation about this and he told me that he felt distant in the relationship and that he was no longer fulfilled. And the reason we were so distant is because I was working my arse off to provide for our family because Steve hasn't had a job for years. And not gonna lie, I really wanted to leave the marriage at this point. But we decided that it might be good to try out couples counselling. And for the first couple of months, this really did help, but then it just deteriorated all over again. So when I confronted about it this time, he said that he was having more affairs. And this time around, Steve had been spending nights at other women's houses. Sleepovers with Steven. He had even had other women at our house in our bed. Naturally, I moved this man into the guest bedroom because I couldn't even bear to look at him. You're disgusting. And throughout all of this, my husband's brother, who we'll call Dave, was my main support. Dave would pick the children up from school, he would make tea for them. And this went on for 2 years. And it even got to the point where the children started to call Dave Dad. Me and Dave were obviously spending a lot of time together and I can't lie, I absolutely loved it. So last Christmas, Dave booked me, my husband and our kids, all of us, a trip to Fiji. Fiji! Dave was just desperate for me and his brother to fix things. However, when my husband found out, he told us to F off. Like, babe, it's Fiji! Fiji! A free holiday to Fiji! He just outright refused to go. In the comments, is anyone else refusing a trip to Fiji? Because I'm sure as hell not. When I asked him why he wouldn't go, it said because he wouldn't go on holiday with our little brats. He's spouting all of this shit about how our kids aren't ours anymore and that they were mistakes anyway. And actually, I asked Dave to come on the holiday. Obviously, on this trip, me and Dave got it on. I'm not gonna lie, girlies, I chose the wrong brother. But the universe showed me the way to the right brother. Get back this morning to find my husband sat on the sofa. Let me know if you want part 2.
Damn! In life, there are lines you don't cross, and sleeping with your brother's woman is one of them. I could believe that a friend or some trusted man might fall for your woman. There are trash friends, but a brother is on a whole different level of what it means to be a terrible person. I know there will be the usual comments saying he cheated on her, and yes, he's a bad man. But he never slept with her friend, her cousins, or her sisters. Those were women outside the family. I'm not saying that's right, but what she did is far worse, and she mocks it. She mocks the fact that she went to bed with her husband's brother. She mocks destroying a family. making two brothers hate each other to the core and ensuring that family will never be the same again. Her actions will also affect her children with that man, as well as the entire family. That man has carved a stigma into his life that will never be erased, because under no circumstances do you sleep with your brother's wife, the mother of his two children. So no, it's not the same. But let's continue.
I cheated on my husband with his brother and I have no regrets. Storytime part 2. So like I said, we got home from Fiji and my husband was sat on the sofa. This man was bloody fuming. And the first thing he said to me was, why do you think it's a good idea to take my brother? Because he's sexy and he's got a big... I said, well, I wasn't going to go on my own. To which he responded, well, the right thing to do would have been discard the ticket. Steve then started to get a little bit too leery for my liking and would not calm down. Calm down. Now, Hans, I'm in my sticking up for myself era, so I asked if he had had any ladies over whilst I was in Fiji. Of course he had. And then he got really mad at me and began to question whether or not he was actually the father of our children. Steve, please put the straws down and stop clutching them. He was now accusing Steve of actually being the father. And he was saying they even look like him. Babe, do you understand genetics? They're gonna look somewhat like him. And now Steve is forcing us to get a DNA test on both of our children. And after this, I just straight up asked him for a divorce. And I was genuinely shocked at his response. He got so upset. But not like the crying upset, more like the defeated kind of upset. I think he'd kind of started to realise as well that he had messed up his kid's life. He then apologised and began begging us to stay as a couple and a family. And I'm not gonna lie, I very heavily considered this. Because I ended up seeing the guy that I'd fallen in love with in high school again. And then I realised who the fuck I was and realised that there was no way in hell that this man was getting another chance. He was literally begging me to make sure that I would let him see his children. I said, yes, of course, no problem, not an issue at all, but it had to be on the children's terms. After this, I chucked Steve out that house. I booked him an Uber and told him to go wherever he needed to go, preferably in the bin. And Stephen packed up his stuff and went really easily, actually. After this, Dave and I had a little chat about how we were going to move forward with everything. We ended up talking about everything that had gone down on the trip and actually how special that was for us. We kind of decided that we were going to give it a go of actually dating. And we did say that we would make sure to not actually start dating until the divorce was finalised. And this would kind of also give my children a little bit of an adjustment time as well. I told them that of course they can see Steve whenever they want to, but he won't be moving in with us straight away. A couple little random updates for you. The kids are now in therapy because I thought it'd be good for them. We did get a DNA test and it turns out that the children are in fact Steve's. And through the divorce proceedings, Stephen has decided that he wants to have sole custody of the children. This being the man that didn't want to go on holiday with them, called them brats, and also hasn't looked after them for the past 2 years. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments.
God damn it! You can't make this shit up!
I can imagine Dave must be proud. He went from being the uncle to the stepfather. I'll tell you something. For less than this, men have made mistakes they now regret from behind bars. Because this woman knew very well that Steve was broken. She had been with him for years, long enough to know he wouldn't have the backbone to stand up to his brother. And you heard what she said when her husband asked why she brought his brother. Her answer was that he was sexy and had a big, you know what? That's humiliating. That pushes a man to the edge. That's the kind of thing that breaks a man. I'm not defending him. Like I said, he has no values for cheating on his wife. But he never destroyed his family. She did. In short, he lost his marriage, his children, and his own brother took his woman. The lesson here, not everyone close to you has good intentions. Sometimes, the one who helps you the most is just waiting for their chance. Because in this game, naivety comes at a high price.
My man, you need to run. You need to run.
Oh, hell no!
I ended up leaving my fiance
How come?
for, I don't know, that's the thing.
Did you meet somebody new?
I did. It was somebody that lived in the area, and I got curious about who this person was, and I took it too far, and I acted on it, and then, ended up leaving my fiance and regretted it almost immediately. I actually just left that other relationship that I was in, and I think I want to repair things with my ex-fiance, and I think he does too, but I don't know where to start.
I'm wondering if you're not just in a cloud of guilt and loneliness.
That's the thing. I don't know. I mean,
Then I would pause on trying to run back and fix this thing. I'm afraid it's going to happen again.
I know that's my worry too, and I don't want it to happen again, and that's why I'm taking the steps to try and figure out why I did what I did. And I just started therapy last week.
I know, but the bigger thing is you making an ironclad commitment. I'm never going to do that again. He can't anchor in and trust you again until you trust you, and you don't
Right.
trust you right now. I mean, here's the thing. To answer your question, the path back in something like this is you ask him, I would like a roadmap to rebuild trust with you because I blew your life up. I blew my life up. I blew your life up. I need a roadmap to trust.
We could have been a good couple. We could have had something special. But you one crazy ass bitch.
Let me make something clear for both men and women. Believing in God doesn't mean you have to tolerate betrayal or disrespect. Forgiving is one thing, but choosing that person again as your partner is something completely different. If a woman leaves you for another man, it's because something was missing with you. If you were unfaithful and she cheated on you, maybe she was trying to give you a taste of your own medicine. But even then, that relationship has no future. From my personal perspective, I'd rather start over 1,000 times with someone new than give a cheater another chance. When a relationship goes through that, something breaks. Men who go through that never truly have peace again because you end up becoming toxic and distrustful. Believe me, to live with that kind of stress, I'd rather meet someone new and try again with a different person. In life, you have to learn to let go of what hurts you. We've reached the end of the video, but before we go, the questions are for you. Would you go back to a woman who has been unfaithful to you? How do you see a man sleeping with his brother's wife? If you enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell. Your support means the world to us and motivates us to keep creating more content. Stay tuned for the next exciting video from the channel.